For whoever's listening today, thank you for joining the Zach Thinks Your podcast. Today is going to be an interesting and different format that I've ever done. So today I have Ben with me, and Ben participated in my September challenge, and he won it. So the challenge was to identify pretty much as much mental load as you can for your partner throughout the month of September. You could earn up to 4 points every single day. Ben here not only acknowledged like 4 points a day, but you scored about 50, I think maybe 70 bonus points. So pretty much every day you put up probably close to 10 different items that your partner was managing the mental load for. So today what I wanted to do is one, did you already, so the prize was a $200 date night. Did you already go on it?
No,
No, but
not been on the
it's
date yet, but
got it.
in the works.
But I wanted to ask pretty much what do you feel like you identified, got better at? Like, what did the growth feel like of you today versus the beginning of the challenge? I know you joined the mental mastery community probably a week or two before starting
Yep.
it, but I wanna hear how it feels like you see or think about it maybe differently than you did before.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I think they kind of ebbed and flowed. Like the first, I guess, 5 to 10 days, like it involved a lot of thinking, trying to get my head around like what I was writing, what I was thinking about. Was it truly mental load, or was it like more domestic labor, invisible labor type stuff? Then there was like a period in the middle where it felt like it was easy wouldn't be the right word, but I'd kind of got into the rhythm of like, okay, I feel like I understand the sorts of things I need to look for, the sorts of things I'm thinking about. Um, and then towards the end, it got harder because I felt like I didn't want to repeat myself
Hmm.
and put the same thing like in over and over again. Uh, but it was, I guess, the most kind of astounding thing to a certain extent for me was like just how much there was. Like once I'd got over the kind of making sure I was thinking about the right things. There were times when I sat down to write stuff out, and there was just a constant stream of stuff. Like you mentioned, the
Hmm.
bonus points. Like at times, it wasn't to find four was not the difficult bit. It was to kind of think, okay, when do I when do I stop? Because nobody's going to want to read all of this. Um, so it's given me a like vastly bigger appreciation for just the amount of stuff, not just the amount of stuff that my wife carries, but also the lack of stuff that I carry, right?
Hmm.
Even if there's things that I think I own to a certain extent, like there's a whole bunch of the mental load that I just don't carry with those sorts of things. I think one of the posts I did was around laundry, something I'm supposed to have owned for like a year. And yet
Hmm.
there is still this huge bucket of thinking that my wife is doing that I'm not caring for.
I want to take an example here. So, of like what your post looked like on September 30th here. So, you'd said birthdays. My wife takes on the mental load around our kids' birthdays and others. What gifts do they want slash need? What is the budget? Are they having a party? Who does it need to be coordinated with? Interacting with other parents on party organizing, invites and RSVPs, organizing other activities, arranging for some friends to come over on our eldest actual birthday, arranging for family to visit, extending childcare for our other son. And I know that there's a lot I haven't captured. And then I want to fast forward to the end of the month. So let's see, we got like September 25th here. So I want to find one of the ones where you had. Oh, this one's thicker. So it's September 24th, house guests. We have some friends heading over this weekend, and my wife takes on the mental load of making it work. So planning, what date can we do? What is the best time based on their travel, our schedule, naps, etc. Do we want to do anything with them? What's the weather likely to be? What's the backup plan if it's not better or worse? Food and drinks. What shall we eat? When shall we eat? Does anyone have any allergies? How is everyone with spicy food? What prep do we need to do for the food before that? What will the kids drink? What options do we have for grown-ups, including the driver? House prep. How do we make sure everything's tidy before they arrive? Do the kids want to put any of their specific toys away? What do we want to put out in the garden? Are we running low on things we might need? Who's going to be responsible for what on that day? So it feels like even you started to get into like a rhythm of like, I noticed like you started putting the mental load sort of in the questions that were being asked and that needed to be answered for you guys to have like a successful host guest experience. Um, do you think that your wife has noticed like your awareness around things improving in the past month?
Yes, I think so. I think the thing for me and like the what comes next almost right is the gap between noticing it and then doing something about it. Uh, the other thing that and I think there was probably a post towards the end of the month that highlighted this as well was that I was thinking on a completely different time horizon to my wife. I think I made a post about Christmas, right? Because I had a conversation about the half-term holidays which are coming up here, and it was like way too late. The thinking and even the like activity and action that needed to be done to make sure that that 2 week holiday ran smoothly was that had been in and out of my wife's head and dealt with weeks before I was even thinking about it. Um, so that they were probably the two things for me. I think yes, I think my wife's noticed. We talked about it more during the challenge as well because I was thinking about it more. Um, but then it's what do you do with after that,
Mm.
and thinking much further ahead.
So what I tried to do with the September challenge here was I wanted you guys to go through the experience that I've gone through, which was I've been making videos for about 2.5 years now. I've been sharing examples of where of mental load that exists in our home. I'm on part 267. So you've done more than half of the moment to moment examples just in the posts in this 30-day challenge because you did 4+ every day. um, One of the things I feel like I've noticed over time in sharing that is there's so many more moments where I feel like even though I'm recognizing she's owning it, my improved awareness for the next time that same thing rolls around, maybe it's a week later, maybe it's a month later, maybe it's 2 hours later, is I can one, I'm like I think I'm less defensive because I see the effort being put in. And two, I think I am more likely to jump in on things. So if I see that she is doing laundry and I know that she's not in earshot when the washer stops and the it needs to go in the dryer, um, I'll double check with her, say, hey, I can go put that into the dryer for you. I just heard it. Um, Especially like if that's a useful communication, she probably doesn't have an alarm set. So there's so many more moments I think I almost kind of a little bit more naturally snap in action because I have awareness. And I think honestly the hard part is developing the awareness and doing the work to identify it. And then I think some of the skills start to come like in a lot of our jobs. I think when we realize what we're accountable for, we start preventatively dealing with things because we develop awareness because it all falls on us. Have you felt like sort of a similar experience where just the awareness starts to improve the way that you take action?
I think so. I think I'm more inclined to do things on that kind of ad hoc basis and just notice things a little bit more. Like I think even the example you gave earlier, right, of the birthdays versus the guests, like I was more aware of in like later in the month of like okay, yes, they're different situations, but still fundamentally the same things. And people are coming to our house. There's a bunch of stuff we need to do to make sure it's ready. And I made more time available in my day and like tried to be more proactive in lots of the kind of domestic labour parts of it as well. So yes, I think I did notice that, and like reflecting back on it now, probably did make some steps towards it. Uh,
Hmm.
Continue to like be more aware of that stuff for sure.
Now, one of the other things that I've seen you've been pretty consistent on in the past like month and a half or so is the core motion wheels. And I know that in the 10 months that I've been doing those, my defensiveness has gone way down because I notice much more clearly like the feeling that I'm experiencing that makes me want to be defensive. So my favorite example is like a couple months ago, I was cooking chicken, undercooked it, realized I kind of screwed up dinner. Historically, that would have turned into me getting a little bit angry at Alyssa for I might have been a little bit mad she noticed it, and not just like sucked up and ate it because I don't think it was crazy undercooked, but it was a little bit undercooked. I know that was my thinking is the moment that I probably saw it, which is like looking at me saying that out loud is kind of terrible. It's like not fully cooked chicken, which is not good for you. Um, so I think anger would have shown up, but when it's called out, I would get defensive, and then it would turn into like me looking back on it and just maybe pouting for the next 2 hours until I saw her smile at me again. Um, and since I've been doing the emotion wheel, I am able to, oh, I feel shame about that because I'm so much better at articulating like which specific feeling I'm having. So upon noticing that there's shame, then from there I can say, oof, Alyssa, I'm feeling shame right now that you just noticed that and you're now putting the chicken back in. It's totally screwed up. I've totally screwed up, and now the timeline of our meal is off. Have you similarly noticed that you're from doing the emotion wheel a fair amount in the past month and a half that your ability to label and like are you noticing your defensiveness changing?
Uh, yes and no.
Mhm.
So I think I still struggle with that in the moment, like immediate reaction to getting very defensive, and um, some of the behaviours that I exhibit in those moments of being like quite dismissive, a little bit blunt, a bit rude in some of the stuff that comes out without really meaning it to be. It's still very much there, but there's definitely been a couple of moments. I can think of one particularly, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now, where like I kind of took some space and actually, rather than what I think I would have done in the past, which is fester on it, probably like not have much of a conversation that evening, and then maybe get around to it the day or the day after or the day after. Like I was much more able to go in and chat to my wife like about 10, 15 minutes later and just articulate that I was being defensive and why and the feeling that I had. Um, and it certainly helped like resolve that situation much more differently than if I hadn't done that or it had been in the past. Like just labeling it and then acknowledging that I need to bring that part of it forward, right? Not have try and get to a point where it's not that immediate defensive reaction and that causes the conflict in the first place, but just getting on top of those emotions a bit earlier. So it's definitely helped me in terms of feeling them and uh, acknowledging them. Um, I think one of the things I posted in the group during the September, and something that my wife and I talk about, is like trying not to attach negativity or positivity to emotions. Like they're just feelings are feelings. Like
Mm,
feel the feeling, take the learning, and then move on with it. And I've tried to adapt that a bit more as well. Which when you can name what the feeling is, rather than it just being like happy, sad, angry, which is pretty much
yeah.
my default emotional range. If I was really gonna if I was going to label it before the emotion well, would have been very true.
Yeah, and I feel like Tira, the CEO at Connection Codes, she's articulated before, like if we look at them more as check engine lights, so like we could look at those check engine lights in our car as like our car is bad right now. It's like this is not good that's happening. But if we look at it more like just alerts, like, oh, I'm feeling shame, I probably need to regulate that. Oh, I'm feeling lonely, I probably need to connect with somebody. Oh, I'm feeling fear, I should probably get in action about something. If we can look at them as not only check engine lights, but as guides for what to do next or how to what to think about next, seems to be, it sounds like that's what she kind of helped you articulate is seeing like how to look at them rather than just saying they're bad and we shouldn't feel them, period.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and to kind of flog the analogy a bit more, right? If the light comes on, you don't do anything about it. Doesn't fix the car, just gets worse.
Hmm. Yeah, and like if your shame uh check shame light is on and you don't do anything about it and you don't regulate it and acknowledge it, it probably gets worse, and that's how eventually we turn into narcissists. Um, which is what I know Brene Brown talks about, how narcissism is often it's just like this consistent shame that has never been regulated. It's just like we for us to survive, we need to like look at ourselves differently almost. Um, Now I know you also recently started doing the Fair Play 101 program with me and which is free within Mental and Mastery. Um, I know those first couple chapters are a little challenging to read as men. She doesn't go easy on us necessarily. But what's been your experience, one of the book and or like starting to implement some of the things from the Fair Play method?
Um, so I guess I read the book earlier this year.
Mhm.
I think off the back of I think your recommendation and watching some of your videos and things felt like a good place to start. Like it is weird because it's definitely not written per se for me to read, and those first couple of chapters are they're not the easiest thing to read, but there's also like a lot of just very true things that it's
Yeah.
good to hear, right, and to a certain extent, and just to acknowledge that, yeah, I can see myself in that, and some of the examples of like sending stupid text messages and asking stupid questions. So, uh, to a certain extent, there's some niceness in realizing that you might have moved past some of that, even now. Um, I think the course itself's been great, like just to have a space to talk about it, to hear different people's perspectives, um, to kind of force me to reread it and refamiliarize myself with some of the concepts and be more active in like how I go um, about them. Like, I think the thing for me is when I read it the first time, I didn't then go and do any of the stuff. Like we haven't talked about or used the cards.
No, did I lose you? Ben, can you hear me? I don't know if it's my internet connection or yours. Ben, no. Let's see. I don't know how the recording of this is going to go, but I know that we lost them. Hopefully, they'll come back in a second. What I've been impressed with Ben is I think for any of the guys that are already in mental mastery community right now, he's been really good about doing daily posts. I think. Oh, there you are, Ben.
Hello,
Well,
sorry.
I was just saying that I think one of the things you've been really good at about in the community is doing daily posts. And I know you were talking about like the implementation of the cards haven't happened yet, but I think one of the things that I think is probably working to your advantage, I could be wrong here, but I'm curious what kind of habits you've set up around doing your coursework and or posting what looks like daily or almost multiple times daily.
Yeah, I think somebody asked a question about this in the community recently. I kind of tried to build a habit around something that I knew I was going to do every day, so that I had a trigger, um, which was my youngest, who doesn't necessarily sleep the best. When I Most nights when he wakes up for the first time, I'll go up, I'll kind of give him a cuddle, help him settle, and that gives me then at least like a 10, 20, maybe sometimes much longer window of
Mhm.
time where I would generally like doom scroll or watch something on YouTube, and so I just tried to reorient that time
Mhm.
towards doing the post, but then also like just trying to be an active member of the community. You mentioned I'm in the mental loads mastery community. I don't know what the mental loads basics one was like, but actually to not feel like you're the only person doing this stuff is really
Mm.
nice, and to learn from other people's experiences and what they're going through has been really like interesting and kept me motivated through the challenge as well to kind of continue to be a part of that. And I like the dopamine hit of going up through the levels and seeing my little um, like contributions thing and making sure that there's some green on almost every day. Uh,
Yeah.
One challenge I've definitely had recently is that my son started sleeping better, and so my kind of trigger keystone has disappeared a little bit. So I need to reorient what it is that triggers me to do it. Um, that and the idea of a bit of a competition, particularly kind of uh, after the first like couple of weeks when I started to realize that okay, I was pretty was in and around that kind of top group of people that are posting every day. That was definitely a bit of inspiration. I love a bit of competition.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're on track to be the second person to level 5, which means you're about to earn lifetime access for free as a leader in the community. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, pretty good. It's definitely been a when you posted in that that was there as an option, it definitely was another like, okay, that's something to go for. Um, like I think there's definitely an element of when you're making an investment in something like a monetary investment, like it also incentivizes you to take it more seriously. And I do think probably kind of one of the challenge that I had when I originally bought the book was like I spent the money on the book, I read the book, I felt invested in it, but over time that kind of drifts away, intentionally or not intentionally. Um, and so I think having something that kind of is a mechanism for you to reflect and think about it every day um,
Mm.
has kind of helped to keep it top of mind.
The one of the other things you're going to unlock when you hit level 5, which you're so real quick, you're 19 points away. However, I am a little bit behind on uh dropping likes in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've earned 10 more points. I just haven't liked your post because that's my 11. So you're actually only 7 points away. So one of the things you guys also are going to earn is your feels weird calling it merch, but your t-shirt. Currently, I've been thinking of sending you guys recovering man child shirts, but I've also considered I'm an odd person. I know I like wearing weird things like that. Does that feel like something you would want to wear? Because I'm open to suggestions if you think there's something else. Um,
Uh, I hadn't expected this one, so I've not given this one any thought. That I mean, I'm quite excited about the merch to be honest, and yes, I definitely will wear it. Like I have been through and I think still go through like cycles of um, how do you kind of feel about it? Like how will other people react?
hmm,
Um, but actually, ultimately, like I want to be the best person I can be for my wife, for my kids, for me, and this is a part of that. Like I don't want my kids to grow up having the same like level of privilege and kind of frankly laziness that I have just because of what society kind of points me towards. So um, anything that represents that's got to be a good thing. And
yeah.
I'm more inclined to wear a t-shirt than I am most other things. It doesn't get cold enough for me to wear jumpers, um, particularly, and I don't tend to wear a hat, so a t-shirt works best for me.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that settles that in my head. Yeah, we're gonna have to schedule another 15-minute call to get you free lifetime access in the very near future. Well, Ben, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time and sharing with me kind of one, what you got out of the challenge, what you've been getting out of the community and the things that have offered here. You're definitely showing up as a leader in the community. I really appreciate um, what you're doing for the other guys in here because I think there are a lot of moments where I've found solace in being able to drop an emotion wheel in there because I'm having a rough morning. Um, that's honestly currently my trigger for doing emotion wheels is I'm probably upset about something I know I need to regulate. I'm like, okay, I know these guys probably need to hear it too. So I'm gonna put it in here. And it's both a great place for me to vent, but I think honestly, from you and Mark as the other guy that just reached level 5, I think I've been feeling more encouragement. I think you guys actually post more frequently than I do right now, which it's one of the things I'm working on, and I think you've done a great job habit stacking it. I have not done a great job habit stacking, and I need to work on that. Part of it is I know that I need to grade all of your October challenges. So I get like, if I let a day or two go by, I'm like, shoot, I got 15 posts I need to grade. And it reminds me of back when I was a teacher and the tests would pile up for me to grade. I'm like, shit, I'm running behind. But yeah, I'm glad that you've joined. I'm grateful that you've put this much energy into it, and, earning this spot as well as contributing to the community. looking forward to you continue to be a leader, and looking forward to at some point hearing from your wife what her experience has been as well.
Yeah, let's wait until it's improved a bit more, I think. Well, that'll
Yeah.
be good. That appreciate it. Thanks, Jack. Zach, it's
Yeah.
like from my side, it's really important work, and it's great to have somewhere to share and be in that space, and to have a kind of safer space to talk about this stuff. I think it's one of the things I posted in the group, right? Is uh, not everybody that you talk to feels the same way or is on the same sort of journey, and to know where there's a place that everybody is in that kind of place is really um, a great place to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ben, I will talk with you again soon. Thank you again, and I'll see you later.
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers, Zach.
All right. Bye, Ben.
Bye.